Let's have you start. You just go right into it.
Hey, David.
What's up, Mick?
I have a confession to make, and I don't quite know how to tell you this.
Oh, we're all so proud of you. It's been, we all know.
No, I'm not transitioning.
Oh,
No, stop it. I told you. That was just a one-time thing.
we
That was
love
just,
you.
I was just,
love you.
I was just expressing, it was curiosity. It was nothing else. No, my confession is that I have bought not one, but 2 pieces of vinyl recently, thereby breaking my vinylist streak of almost at least 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We're going to talk more about that later on.
You're just gonna make me suffer with this information until later in the pod. I got it. I
Look,
got it.
If you have to suffer, we all have to suffer.
There you go.
I've suffered for my music. Now it's your turn.
Let's make the listeners suffer now.
If they've listened to the previous 5 podcasts, I think they're used to suffering.
Okay.
All right.
What do we got today, David?
All right, dude. So, update on the space, the listening room that I've been building downstairs. It is, shall we say, it's done, but it's not finished, if I may make such a linguistic distinction between the two. Long story short, this was a spare bedroom downstairs. It was a wreck. It had carpeting. It was dirty. It was basically just a catch-all. Old furniture in there, whatever. It occurred to me that maybe a listening room would be a good idea.
Because your whole upstairs is basically already a listening room. So
It is, but it's more.
but you don't have one on the lower floor, which is like really unfair to you.
It is unfair to me because this is a 2-floor house and I would have to walk up a flight of stairs.
Like, what part of that math don't people understand? You have 2 floors, 1 listening room. It makes no sense. The math, it's math, people. It's math. Don't fight it. Science.
Yeah, the system upstairs is good. We like it, but it is definitely for more casual listening. It's for when I'm making dinner or, just like reading a book or whatever. It's good for that. But for critical listening, I felt that I needed something else.
Is there an end? They say
No.
it's the journey, not the destination. So we just keep journeying until you run out of rooms in the house.
Yeah, well, I'm just
right?
no, I keep journeying until I run out of money.
Right.
and then I have to like save money and then buy more stuff. So just getting started on the project was difficult because there was a lot of bickering back and forth between myself and my wife. So one day I just took a mat knife and I cut.
You cut her.
Yeah, that's right. Enough's enough, lady.
All right, people. This is taking a terrible turn. This episode has escalated. Beep. Please stand by.
No, so I took a mat knife and I cut a 4-foot square out of the carpet, right in the corner, right where the door opens. And she was like, "What the hell did you just do?" I said, "I broke it, so now we have to fix it."
Oh, cold. Diabolical.
I know. Well, no more discussion. It's time to take action.
Guys, we do not condone audiophile violence against anybody in your family, your nearest and dear to your family. But
Well,
I
maybe
just
you don't.
privately, if I'm muted right now, good job, Dave. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
That's brilliant. I got to remember that at home.
Yeah, so
At home. Okay, turn the mics back on.
okay, got it. All right. Yeah, so over the course of 3 months, ripped up the carpet, put in flooring, which I didn't know how to do, but good old YouTube. Painted the walls 3 coats, and then brought in equipment. The Magnapan MG1s were my speaker of choice. The Creek 5350 SE is the amp. The Oppo BDP 103, and Wim Pro Plus for streaming into the shit Gumby, the Gunyear multi-bit. And after a while of like tweaking and noodling and this and that, I think it's now in a place where it sounds actually really good. I'm actually really happy with it. In fact, it sounds better than it did a week ago because just yesterday I installed some acoustic treatment on the back wall from our friends at GIK Acoustics. I got the 2-inch thick sound absorbers. Got 3 of them. And mounted them up on the wall, and the sound difference is pretty remarkable. You listened to it just today.
Yeah.
Tell me what your impressions are. For no other reason, I need to validate my own insecurities.
So what I noticed, I think I told you, I didn't hear the before and after, but I know a well-treated room when I don't hear one.
Right.
So I did not hear. I did see like yeah, maybe the sidewalls, it's a small enough space, how much, but behind, sitting right behind the chair like that, it was gorgeous. It really closed the distance up kind of between you and the Maggies, and it just made Maggies are so intimate to begin with, and it just gave that extra sort of reach out, touch it, you're right there feel that they're so good at when you did Ella Fitzgerald and Dominique Fields, Annette
Annette Asvik.
Asvik. And also, I love that that's your digital system because, a lot of people think something a system with those kind of strengths, they're just perfect for vinyl, this and that. And that's true. But I think the digital into like the Gumby through the beautiful creek and coming out with the Maggies, it still gives it that airiness and that space and that beautiful three dimensionality. Like I did not miss anything. It's remarkable. I mean, the system up here is great, but it is in a big living space, and you can't compare the two to a dedicated listening room. So as great as the Shahanians are and the Plinius and the AR turntable, really, it's a beautiful setup. But I think just downstairs is a whole nother level. You took it to.
Well,
Definitely.
thank you, and I appreciate that, and that means a lot. But it's still not going to stop me from replacing some of the gear that's down there.
Only the streamer, speakers, DAC, and amp. You said, right?
The when I was tuning the room, moving the speakers around here and there, and listening and listening and listening without the treatment, without the acoustic treatment, I felt that the creak was that the transients were too hot. I felt that every time a note was plucked on a guitar, I felt like a little shock. While the soundstage was impeccable, those transients really bothered me. And I felt that it was just too strident. And I was like, okay, that's it. Enough of this. But before I did anything stupid and impulsive, I brought the Plinius, the 8150 from upstairs, brought it downstairs. And I was like, okay, let me just see, is this just something that's inherent in the room, or with the speakers? And the Plinius did sound different. The transients were a lot softer, but so was the soundstage. The soundstage was more unfocused, and while it sounded good and more natural, that prompted me to go onto eBay looking for another Plinius. I decided, what, let's not do anything rash until I have to.
Right.
And in the meantime, Audio Phil was just going crazy on my shoulder, saying, hey, it sounds good, but it could totally sound better if. It would sound better if you did this.
You have a friend named Audio Phil, right?
Yeah.
And Audio Phil advises you on a lot of these.
Yeah, I wish he wouldn't. But he does. I'm happy with the Creek. I'm happy with the Gumby. I'm happy with the Wim. I'm happy with the speakers and the subs. The CD player's got to go. Only because it doesn't have a USB out. I'm already using the coax out input in the Gumby, and the Gumby only has Toslink, coax, SPDIF, but it also has USB. It's got a USB in that's currently unused. So I've been looking at the Shanling ET3 as a possible replacement, simply because of the fact that it's a transport only, and it does have a USB out. So
interesting.
Yeah, well, I just wasn't happy with the way that the 103, the Oppo sounds through Toslink. It sounded unfocused, sounded kind of mushy. Soundstage was just sort of like, meh. And even with the analog outputs from the RCAs, no, it just not a good fit. So that is currently for sale if you're interested.
Well, I'm sure the 103 is still a popular deck, and I'm sure it'll be long gone by the time this airs. So
one could hope,
Yeah.
because the Shanling is like $720, which I think is quite a bit for a transport only, but it will scratch that itch of being able to use the USB input of the Gumby. And if that doesn't work, well, then I'm just gonna sell all my CDs and just do streaming.
I think the best thing you did certainly was waiting until you did some treatment to the room, because as I know you want to talk about later in this episode, we want to talk about the room as being really that extra. It's like the George Martin to the Beatles. It's like the fifth Beatle. You can't have the true excellence without that being factored in. And it can be a very inexpensive fix, especially if you're kind of new to this. You don't have to spend a lot of money in this hobby. You should start small, but if you take the right steps and you know the right things to focus on, like how to just inexpensively treat your room or do some positioning and maybe take some measurements and stuff. If you just do a little bit of that, I think the rewards are huge.
Oh, 100%.
And you can make
Yeah.
a $500 little system you've jury-rigged kind of together with inexpensive components. You can make that sound like a $1,500, $2,000 system, just from doing some adjustments around your room. So we'll start to dip our toes into that, I'm sure, after this segment and after this break.
Speaking of a break, let's take a break. And well, when we come back, we'll be talking about room acoustics. All right, guys, welcome back to the Sound or Music. So we were talking about the space downstairs. We were talking about how it sounded before treatment.
Why is it this?
I don't know.
It's
My
capital
daughter.
S-L-P, capital A-C-E.
It is.
The space.
The space.
If I stub my toe on it, I trip over it every time I'm talking about it. Like, can't you just put your toys away? Like, what? It's like stepping on a Lego, like
It is.
in a bare foot.
Yeah, linguistically speaking, it is.
It's like
a
the
Lego.
it's like the Lego on the stairs in your bare feet. It's like it's torture. What are you doing to me?
It wasn't me. It was my daughter.
Oh my
she
God.
she named it. Yeah, her and her boyfriend. They're like, "Oh, is this the space?" I'm like, "No, I guess it is now." Look, it was her playroom, so I got to give her I got to give her a bone. Fine, you can name it. How about that? Initially she was like, "Well, I want to choose the color of the paint." I'm like, "No."
You should have waved your cutting tool at her like you did with your wife. You should have just, you showed her who's boss, dude. Flex.
Exactly. Well, some people just don't listen. Anyway,
Oh my goodness, we're gonna get in trouble.
room treatment. It's all the shit on the walls that and the ceilings that you see when you go into a mixing room or a listening room. What's it used for? Why do we do that?
Well, David, so the primary usage is to stop unwanted reflections. Obviously the sound's coming out of the speakers is vibrations, the air is moving in multiple directions, and it's going to bounce off everything. You know what it's like. If you're in a certain big empty room, you clap your hands, you hear that snapback, that clapback kind of echo. They
Yeah, that kind of ringing.
that
sound.
ringing.
Yeah.
So when you add that up over the time as you're playing music, you have this like rush of sound that's coming down, all these different frequencies and energies and everything just kind of bouncing all around the room. And it just,
An acoustic gangbang.
oh my God, this guy, I can't. You know what? I'm turning the microphone away and I'm looking the other way
Was it that awkward?
because this has gotten blue all of a sudden. I'm really uncomfortable here. I don't feel safe here. David.
It's not a safe
I
space.
don't feel this is not a safe space.
It's never been a safe space.
So that's the easiest and best way. But now they're all different types. There are types of treatments that affect the lower frequencies that you might use like a bass trap for certain sub frequencies. The treatments that you use can be determined by the size of the room, the volume of the room, taking measurements everywhere. Like if you're really doing like a recording studio, you're going to have an acoustician.
Oh,
come
there is such a thing?
Oh, I'm going. Oh, yeah.
oh
yeah.
wow.
And, they're going to take measurements and they're going to like actually be able to really identify the nodes and modes in the room. You can measure out and see like, because there's a resonant frequency within a space, right? There's a certain point at which the walls, the ceiling, the size of the space is going to begin to almost like
Vibrate.
resonate in harmony with certain
Oh, okay.
frequencies. So that's why you might hear something like in some of my rooms, I've heard like you hear a certain mid bass thing and it kind of goes like you almost hear it like it's almost like increasing in volume.
Yep.
You can actually hear some of those hot kind of frequencies around in a different room. So I'm of two minds about it because on the one hand, you can go down this rabbit hole and you can go in and spend thousands of dollars. You can go and get crazy with it. People get crazy in this hobby. I don't know if you've noticed this, but people are a little obsessive about this at times. And but I think what you really just want to do is you just want to like do harm reduction. If a room's really noisy, it's bright, it's bouncy, it's going around the walls, and I was going to say what I did in my room, at my place, I have a fireplace almost. So it's all brick on one side. I've got the speakers in front of some windows, 2 windows, and they're nice. They're good, like triple pane, whatever. And then behind me is just kind of a few feet and there's a little bathroom off the way. There's really, and a door down to the cellar. There's really nothing I can do to like really like tart up those walls. I don't want to like hang things on my door down to my basement and stuff.
Right.
That's kind of not my scene. I want it to be aesthetically pleasing. It's like our big family like room, like
Yep.
fireplace room.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did notice is that I have those big, like a big door, sliding door out to the other patio I have, and that is all glass.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing was glass. So there's two big, wide door sides. I researched a bunch for like a good acoustic, like heavyweight curtain for
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
And I just put that up because that was really the only wall that I could reasonably treat without ruining the aesthetics of the room, which I'm really against.
Mm-hmm.
Even my ceiling it's a post and beam design, so it has some like cross beams going across, and I think they're almost like baffles. They like kind of nicely break up the sound. Like
Interesting.
I don't really notice a problem coming down from the ceiling because I think a lot of it just gets
Mm-hmm.
diffused and taken care of by just the natural design of the room.
Right.
So I did put up those curtains, and it was huge.
Mm.
Especially because I like to play music loud.
Yes, you do.
And so you do that, and you know, it's bouncing around there and it's coming off the glass, and you can absolutely hear that happening.
Sure.
So putting up that nice one treatment from that room, I felt was like more than 50% reduction in
Yeah.
any like nasties. I do notice in the low frequencies, yeah, there's some stuff I could tune, I could move. I also have some limited movement for like where my subs can go and stuff. So, you know, it's imperfect, right? I don't have a space in my lower floor that I can just go and take over at knife point from my wife and then blame my daughter for giving it a space weird sound. You know, some of us just aren't that lucky, David.
It's all about compromise, man.
Yeah.
It's just all about compromise.
I say what I want,
Yes.
and you agree.
Yes.
That's a compromise. We just
Exactly.
met right in the middle.
And that's a safe relationship.
Your relationship pod is starting soon, right?
Right.
You're like,
Yeah, it's called Do As I Say.
yeah.
Do As I Say with David Jones.
Oh my goodness. How
no,
did we get here?
I don't know, man. It just descended quickly. So your experience with simply hanging some drapes, were they marketed as like acoustic drapes?
It wasn't from an acoustical company, but they were like heavyweight.
Like
Yeah,
a-
they were heavyweight. So partially for sound blocking, but they're not like GIK, like beautiful, like acoustic made cover,
Right.
you know, a drape.
It was like measurements and
Right.
and
No.
such.
And
Yeah.
like,
There are drapes in the front wall of the space, and I'm gonna keep saying that until I know.
gonna give me a complex. I'm gonna be like waking up and like going, space, the final frontier.
Gonna have a tick. There is a large closet in the front wall, and because the magnepans are dipole, meaning that equal amounts of sound come out of the front as go out the back, you have a lot of that rear end reflection coming out, and it's like uncontrolled, and you can get comb filtering, which means that certain frequencies are going to be canceled out. You're going to get like all sorts of like weird shit. And when I actually emailed GIK about this, I told them, you know, what speakers and the equipment and the size of the room and all that. The person I dealt with was terrific. She said, yeah, you should really treat that back wall either
Right.
like with a polyfuser is what she initially suggested. The polyfuser is cool because it absorbs sound, but it also disperses the sound. So it's like a 50-50 kind of thing. So you do still get some of that reflection, which does ultimately help the soundstage, allegedly, but it will absorb. So it's not like, you know, crazy amounts of reflection coming off that back wall. Like I say, I haven't picked up those polyfusers yet. I probably will. I think they're like $200 a piece. I probably will. But in the meantime, we did get a set of drapes. What are they called? Blackout drapes. Because they're thick, and we got them at Walmart for like $15. You know, just a rod for like $5. So for like $20, we did a fair amount of room treatment. I didn't do it like a before and after measurement, but I'm like, okay, in my mind, that is absorbing. That curtain is absorbing frequencies. It is gobbling up some of that reflection. I think acoustically speaking, probably the next step would be polyfusers, which would go behind the speakers. But we'll see. I did take a measurement with REW software using a 360 mic. It's given me a huge amount of data, that I don't know how to read. So
Yeah.
it's giving me charts and graphs and, waterfall charts and all this really cool stuff. And I'm like, hey, that looks really cool. A lot of colors, a
Hmm.
lot of green, some red. Red is never good on a chart, and some blue. Apparently, the blue is for reverb. I'll take another measurement and I'll see and I'll compare the two. But it's like me looking at those charts is like a raccoon looking at trying to drive a semi truck. The odds of a raccoon successfully driving a semi truck are very low.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, not
I have to agree. They are smart though.
they're a smart little
If
guy.
they worked in tandem,
Yeah,
they could do it.
they probably could one on the brake. Yeah, one on the
I don't never underestimate raccoons.
no, they'll come after
They're
you.
diabolical. What you're saying is like from my room, it was I could only do the cheap, like the heavyweight blackout drapes. But I believe life is too short. And if you want to enjoy this hobby and enjoy your music, it is to increase your joy at being alive. Now, if your joy of being alive is increased by spending thousands of dollars and obsessing over the waterfall charts, over the tiny things, and playing armchair acoustician, then be my guest. Have at it. Have fun. But otherwise, I'm all about the practical need. These are just tools for everyday enjoyment of life. But if you take it like you have a dedicated space and you do that,
Which you don't have.
I don't have, because I don't threaten my loved ones with box cutters. That's just a weird thing I have. But because I don't have that, I make those compromises all the time. And I don't care because I love my system and I love the sound in that room. And it doesn't affect my terrible dancing one bit.
You're a bad dancer,
I'm
but
the
but
worst.
but it's the enthusiasm that I
I
find
shouldn't have quit
infectious.
drinking because when I drank, man, I was absolutely the world's greatest dancer. Besides being like incredibly suave and sophisticated,
True.
and the type of guy that like all women wanted to be with and all men wanted to be, basically. But then I quit, and now I just look at myself and I realize, oh my god, I'm just like a paunchy dude who like has bad rhythm. But that's
We
okay.
we don't all think that.
You know?
Not everybody.
So that's the one thing I was going to say. And then, I'm sorry, the other thing I want to go into is I have to say I hated room correction software. The stuff that comes with like AVRs and like Odyssey. Not a big fan, at least in
Doesn't Rune have some
Rune is something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that. I've run that. But the new Dirac Alive or whatever it's called. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like give a plug for Dirac, but I ran that because that came with the NAD, and then I bought the full version for like an extra $100 or something. And I've run that a few times, different ways to get a few different profiles just to see if I could do it more accurately or less or whatever. If the positioning changes, I rerun it. And I'd say I'm happy with that. I tend to keep it on.
But now, does it simply affect the frequency sweep, or is it because I can't see how it would affect reverb?
They claim it corrects timing errors too and does things like that. So I don't play it at being an audio engineer. I just play at making great sounding systems at a really affordable price. You know, getting value for money has always been my thing. Now I'm all digital except
Well, we will talk about that resurgence. We will talk about that resurgence.
oh my god.
And we will talk about your.
I'm shaking. I'm sweating. I'm schwitzing like a schmendrick over here.
That's right. We're going to talk about Mick's resurgence back into the world of vinyl and analog when we would come right back. All right, guys, we are back in a new episode of Musical Therapy with David Jones and Mick Jones. So Mick, you teased us a little bit in the beginning here. What do you have to say to our listening audience?
Well, I like I said in the beginning, I bought some vinyl.
So, like, you're into vinyl now?
No.
Oh.
I found a single, a 12-inch 45 RPM single. I had never owned it before, so it wasn't like I was trying to replace something. But it was a song that just has a real personal meaning to me, and I just have an absolute love for the song and the singer. And I saw that, and I thought, I bought my son a turntable, and then he's off of college, but we recently repainted the inside of the house. So as we were painting his room, we were moving stuff around. I thought, you know what? He doesn't have the setup in his room to really use the turntable. So I said, I'm going to put it down there because I have a nice like media cabinet thing that it could sit on and then plug it in through my NAD. And then when he's home, he'll like be able to play his stuff on the grate system. He doesn't have to like try to work with his little.
Yeah, that's a really good justification for stealing.
Well, yeah, but it's in the same house. It's in the building. Um, so I thought, well, I don't know what I was thinking, but I remembered there was one song by one particular artist that I had been listening to again after many years, and I thought, God, this is such an obscure track. It's not on any of the albums, any of the compilations, anything I can find. I couldn't find this song on Kubas or anywhere else. I could find it on YouTube, but I said, let me just see, does anybody even have like the vinyl of this for sale? And lo and behold, I went on there and you can find it. It's not like the most rare thing ever, but it was a tiny little label based out of New York from a Jamaican artist, and I have no idea how it all went down. But I found it. It was $10, so I bought it, and it's just it's
Who's the artist? What's the track?
okay. So the artist is Frankie Paul. He was known as Jamaica's Stevie Wonder. He passed away, I think, in 2017 in his early 50s. May he rest in peace. He was born blind or quickly went blind. I forget. Came up to New York City for an operation, restored a little bit of his sight. And then he somehow, I think when he was in New York, I was reading, it's probably from his Wikipedia page, he got into music. And he went back and he had quite a good career. And some of his songs like Worries in the Dance and Pass the Kushum Peng. And there's just some wonderful songs. But this track in particular is one, like I said, it does not appear on any of the compilations I can find anywhere, the CDs or streaming, anything. And it's called Gunman Around Town.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my brother to thank for that because he used to be a reggae aficionado and a DJ and stuff. So he made me a mixtape, probably the 80s now, going back in the late 80s, maybe early 90s, I forget, a long time ago. And it had this song on it because he would just scour, he was a record bin habitué and would haunt them and built up a huge collection of rare reggae and dub. And that one song, I mean, many other stuff was great and I loved. I learned a lot about the deeper cuts of reggae and dub during that time and got appreciation for King Tubby and Scientist and Lee Perry and
Of course.
the various, and got really kind of
And I know all of those artists.
good.
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Okay, I'm sorry for you. And then so that this song was on it, and it was just like this, like, I don't know, it was this unicorn thing for me. Like I can't find it except okay, it's on YouTube, but so I found it for $10 and I bought it. It was like very sentimental. It was kind of emotional for me.
Cool. You said you couldn't find it on Qobuz. You said you couldn't find it anywhere except YouTube. Wasn't YouTube just good enough?
No, because I still like fizz, as we call it, fizz, physical media. Thank you.
You just made that up.
And yeah, I'll hang on to that one. But because the song has such a strong personal association for me, it could disappear on YouTube. Who knows? An account could go away or whatever. I don't know. It brought something back in me. It awakened that little latent vinyl gene in me again.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to I may just frame it and put it on my wall because I don't know what it does, but the message is beautiful. The lyrics are beautiful. It's sad. His performance is gorgeous. His voice is incredible, I think. And it hits me in the feels, so I just wanted to actually have my own copy of it. It was just totally personal.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a quick break, 30 seconds. We're going to listen to this album and then we'll be back in
12-inch single.
Yes. Oh, 12-inch single. All right. Stand by, guys. All right, we're back. That was a great song. What a beautiful voice.
Yeah.
I'm sometimes of the mind, and this is just my upbringing, to me, A lot of reggae kind of sounds the same.
Mm.
That's because I don't know enough about it to be able to pick up on the distinctions. But this was just a pleasure to listen to. Kind of takes you back in time, and that's part of the reason that I enjoy listening to older recordings, like jazz or something like that, because it's almost like traveling back in time,
Like back before like high fidelity was invented.
not so much before high fidelity, but
Back when people just
back
listened
when
to like plastic being scratched by a stone, by a rock, being dragged across a shaky groove of plastic that is a fourth generation copy by the time you hear your new record.
yeah, and it still sounds great. Ha! Admit it. You enjoyed the process.
I admit I did.
Yes.
I love that.
You enjoyed watching me wash your records before I put it on my.
Wash them, people, like Jesus washing the feet of the disciples. He washed my record.
I'm going to take that as a compliment.
With hands with dish soap. It was absolutely lovely.
It cleans it. It is plastic at the end of the day, people. Come on, relax.
And then I went and I got weak and I ordered a second thing.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Another vinyl record?
A full vinyl album this time. And that was, so I mentioned before my love for the site Super Deluxe Edition.
Yeah.
Paul Sinclair. I think I have so much respect and admiration for that guy. Hopefully we can get him on here someday. He's incredibly busy.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been following that site for many years, at least a decade now or more at this point.
Right.
And it like a daily thing, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's like one of my like go-to bookmarks. And he has built that into such an amazing business.
Mm-hmm.
So I always look there and order. Now, this was not an exclusive for them, but like they recently just put out an exclusive Atmos Blu-ray of Who's Next.
Oh, shit. Love that album. I have it on vinyl. Yeah. Well, a half-speed, new half-speed, forget it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't understand.
No. So I got the 50th anniversary deluxe edition reissue of Autobahn by Kraftwerk. Their breakthrough album, 1974.
Yes.
And then I decided, normally I would just get the Blu-ray, but I said, you know what? I can just let myself be upsold by getting the combo pack.
Right.
And for only a few quid more, well, maybe 20 quid more, I don't know, I could get the vinyl with it. And then I said, maybe David would like to hear the vinyl.
I think you're right. Let's take a quick 30-second break and listen to this thing.
Yeah, you gotta break the plastic on it. I haven't even opened it.
That's right. I'm gonna get my box cutter.
Yes. Oh my God. All right, people.
All right, right.
Pray for me.
Yeah. If he's not back, you'll know what happened. Wow. Yeah. Autobahn. Holy shit. What a record.
Fun on the Autobahn.
It's such a remarkable. When did that record come out?
It's dated 74. The vinyl comes from a digital master to 2009, but if the Blu-ray is the new branch, remix into Atmos and 5.1.
Wow. God, I mean, just musically, it's so incredible. I don't know much about Kraftwerk, but I know I deeply respect what they do and the work that they've done. I haven't listened to Autobahn all the way, but we did listen to side one. And
side one, yeah, it's amazing.
It sounds so good.
Yeah,
and it's a picture disc too.
Yeah.
Which is kind of gimmicky, but they pull it off, and it's really nice. It's really nice.
It'll look good when it's framed next to my Frankie Paul record because I'm not going to play it again.
See,
look,
it's not a visual medium.
I just have to say, I just have to be honest. I am fully digitized. I do not think the vinyl adds anything to anything. I know. I've just killed him. He's in tears, people. There's
not in tears.
Silent tears. He's crying.
No, what you're picking up on is disappointment.
The rage.
No, it's not rage. Look, I'm cool with streaming. As you know, I've got the space downstairs is all digital.
And come on, that sounds unbelievable.
It sounds great.
It
sounds great. But when I'm playing a vinyl record, I feel like I'm being hugged. I'm feeling secure. I'm feeling like I'm part of the music. The music is part of me, where I'm not just a detached listener. And I do like fizz, as you so grossly called it, the physical physical media. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole that it, I enjoy the ritual of it, where I enjoy taking it out of its sleeve and putting it on and cleaning it. Yes, that is part of it, but that's not the reason. The reason is I like the way it sounds, that the highs and the transients aren't as aggressive. It's just a smoother, blended sound that isn't as aggressive.
Well, you were so I watched you stretch and grow and make an all digital system in your listening room, which is your critical listening room, which sounds so amazing. So I thought you were reaching over the aisle. So I thought I would reach over the aisle and get some vinyl to show that I'm still the bigger person. That's kind of how it adds up if you look at it objectively.
Strictly objectively, yes. I spend $2,000 on equipment
Just to impress
that's
me with digital.
not to impress you, but that you could say yes. I was reaching across the aisle, and you spent $20 on a record, and you think that there's something equal now.
I still came in on top. Hey, by the way, did you want to buy a used Kraftwerk record? That's right. It's like
Give me a deal, slightly.
It's only half used.
Yes,
Side.
but it's now a collector's item. I got to pay you $60 for it.
No,
Well,
look,
you want to buy a DDP 103 CD player?
no.
It also plays Blu-ray and SACDs.
Yeah, I can't get over the groove. The deal gets into the groove and the start, and right as the track kind of opens up from when the actual recording starts. I don't need it. I don't need the cracks and purples and the snap crackle pop, but I do still have that 0.1%.
Yeah.
I do. And I'll tell you again, that Abbey Road half speed master of Quadrophenia that you played for me
Sure.
is an absolute work of art. The production, the engineering on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is one of the best vinyls because I know that record so well. I've heard it so many different times in so many different formats and different releases, everything. And I haven't sat down and compared them all and say, okay, I go down, but I just know it, like I just know that record in and out. And I've heard it all different ways. I've heard it sound great. I've heard it sound lousy, whatever. But boy, oh boy, oh boy. And I think, by the way, I have the surround of that Pete Townsend oversaw, and I absolutely love it. And that was my favorite version.
Yeah.
Until I think I heard that vinyl. The highs were so well tamed in that. The drums, the cymbals sounded so much better to me, so much more realistic and a little, it toned down some of that frantic hysteria of Keith Moon a little bit. No offense, Keith, you're a great drummer, but dude, it's such one of my favorite all-time albums. So I was a little surprised and I was honest about it. I was like, oh my God, this is the best I've ever heard this album. So I know vinyl has it in it, and I know it can deliver. I know it can deliver the goods, but I just can't sit at my age and just start rebuilding and look, I left that part of my life behind because I didn't want to look back.
Sure. Listening to something like I think when vinyl, when somebody nails it, they nail it. So like Analog Productions, I bought Take 5, Dave Brubeck, and it sounds spectacular. It's quiet. It's balanced. It's just such a beautiful rendering of that album. I did the Pepsi challenge. I played it on vinyl, and then I streamed it, and I just preferred the vinyl. I also got the UHQR of Kind of Blue because I had to from Analog Productions. And
that's all that jazz mataz music is,
all that, yes.
That jazzy mataz,
all that jazz.
yeah.
Yes. and I listened to it, and it was embracing, and it was intimate, and it was beautiful. I'm carefully curating what I buy because, again, I only have like 4 feet of shelf space. So when something comes in, something's got to go out. So I'm very careful about what I buy. And in terms of sound, I'm very careful about what I buy. Again, it's got to be something good. If I know Chad Kasem's behind it, yeah, that's an imprimatur. That is a stamp of approval. That is like, okay, this is going to sound good.
Right, and that's a great point because you say, like, it's actually encouraging to hear you think, maybe you'd say 80% of vinyl really isn't, like, maybe worth the plastic it's printed on in a certain way from, like, a real audiophilia perspective. But, I wouldn't argue that that's the same with digital. Like, you don't know where those masters have been. You don't know where those files are coming from. Like, I've heard stuff that's, like, shockingly bad,
Yeah.
and other stuff. I'm not following trends in, like, the recording industry anymore, like the actual recording business. I would love to see a chain of custody kind of like come with these things, almost like not blockchain, but you know what I mean? Like the idea, like, yeah, like you have a real chain of custody and somehow to like work that into the digital streams as like an almost like an authenticator. The way like tried to force MQA,
Right.
may it burn in hell and rest in agony for the rest of its miserable life. But that idea, not to make something proprietary or whatever, but maybe to add something that we could agree on a standard for the provenance of digital, I think that would go a long way because I think that's what's missing too, right? Like the liner notes, the little engravings on the enslave on the outro in the
Yeah.
album near the label. Was it a red label? Was it the mono? Was it the
Did
original
Robert Ludwig do the mastering?
Yeah, like what happened? Like we kind of need that, and I don't think in our disembodied digital age we'll probably ever get there. I doubt we ever will. But as an audio nerd and geek like myself, I know that I'm just like accepting whatever
Yeah.
crap. That's why I buy these discs,
Mhm.
and that's why I still invest in that physical media because at least there I know that is like my vinyl in a way. Like at least I know. I think the whole discussion is almost silly because it's all about the sound, right? But we're silly people, audiophiles, and we
Yeah.
argue about really stupid things. So this is the
I
hill
don't know
I'm
what
gonna
the hell
die
you're
on.
talking about,
This is
man.
the hill I'm gonna die on, man. Like it's gonna be
Seemingly. Yeah.
zeros and ones and like it's like the landscape from Tron, like I'm on one of those like light cycles and I'm like speeding around. Like that's my musical world is like being on a light cycle on Tron.
Right.
That's my world. And I love EDM. I love electronica. I love stuff that's all in the digital domain to begin with. And I do not need to hear it, fourth generation pressed plastic curved with a stone dragging along trying to reproduce it. I just don't.
Well, when you put it that way,
Well, am I wrong? Is it not true?
so
As it goes around a curve, it's
as opposed to a slab of silicone.
like the L train coming into Graham Avenue in Brooklyn, like. And it's all corners. It all just pulls the centripetal force. So we do the tracking angle, and we do the azimuth, and we do the and we do the feng shui, and we
So then it sounds good. Yes, I mean when
and we get its Jupiter aligned with Mars.
and yet through all of that, it still sounds good.
That's my reasoned, intellectual response to you, sir. If I had a white glove, I would take it off and smack you with it.
All right, so agree to disagree.
Yeah.
I guess that's
No,
I guess that's
I
where
bought the vinyl. I spent like over $30 on those two records.
I know, which is
That's an
so
incredible
much
sum of money.
so much money.
like 2
Oh
months
my
of Cobas.
god, I spent 100 on one goddamn record. Is it worth it? Yeah, because when Cobas, if Cobas goes away, if Tidal goes away, or they lose licensing rights, hey, guess what? I still have it. It is still mine.
Here's the thing. I just pound my fists so much because I'm just pounding them on your big, strong shoulders of vinyl.
They are broad
Strong
shoulders.
analog shoulders, and
Those
I'm
such
just
broad
pounding my
shoulders.
puny little 0 and 1 fists, like my little like binary fists going.
You and Analog Phil are ruining my
Yeah,
my,
so,
my listening pleasure.
So that's all. We only hurt the ones we love.
Or threaten them with box cutter.
So no, I'm not anti-vinyl, people, but this is kind of some of the fun. We both have very strong opinions about our perspective, where we're coming from. It gives us a little fizz. Yeah, I heard what you did there. I love experiencing that vinyl with you and checking out these two systems. And I just congratulations, man, because the new system, not because it's digital, but because the room looks amazing. It sounds incredible. And I was actually thinking like, it would be great to hear a turntable down here. It would be great. And I'm sure you will get to that at some point.
I may. There's no phono input on the Creek, but you know, I could figure something out, or just get a new amplifier. Oh yeah, there's audiophil again.
I was thinking that upstairs bathroom, if you redid that, dude.
That
That's like a YMCA
you-
right here. You can go to the library for the bathroom. You don't
you-
technically have to have a bathroom here.
you are laughing, but I did find a overhead light that also has a Bluetooth speaker in it, and I seriously considered it. But yeah, we'll look into it. All right, we're devolving here. Thank you everybody for listening to this sound or music. I don't know what's coming up next week, but I'm sure it will be good. This was David Jones.
And Mick Jones.
And yeah, thanks guys for tuning in. All right, drive safe and clean your damn records.
That wraps up this episode of The Sound or Music. Thanks for tuning in and indulging us. Remember, it's all about enjoying sound that moves you.
If you like what you heard, be sure to subscribe and share with your fellow audiophiles.